put it like this and you sit me down on a couch surrounded by all the stuff I bought in 2023. Now it feels a bit ridiculous. But also got to remember that I sold almost the same amount of stuff from my previous collection anyway. This was a year where I built up my Airsoft collection with stuff that I really, really wanted and not stuff that I thought was just kind of cool that I don't worry about it, I can sell it in the future anyway. This is all stuff that I've been after for a long time. There's a lot of it. Well, mostly stuff I've been after for a long time and wanted to add to my collection and that be my collection. So yeah, this is a bit of an honourable mention that I'll get to. This isn't mine, but we will get there. It is fucking cool though, right? So we're going to take a look at everything that I've added to my collection in 2023. For some of it, it's also going to be a bit of a how's it handling usage, just like a bit of an update video, short update video for some of them, because I have used a lot of them quite a lot over the last year. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to see how well they've held up, how well they've stood the test of time and BBs being shot at them and me breaking them. If you stick around to the end, there'll be a little unboxing video of the most recent one that arrived today. So yeah, where do we start? So we're going to kind of do it in order of purchase, I guess, but I might just get bored of that and start ranting about different things. We'll see how it goes, we don't know. It's not very scripted at all, none of my videos are. Got kind of like a rough idea of how I want it to go in my head, and then I edit all the fat out. Right, so we begin with the VFC MP5. Now, 2023 was kind of the year of VFC for me. VFC just started to release all the guns I want with their retro AR lines and the V3 gas blowback system there, and then the V2 MP5. Once all this stuff was announced, it was where my collection was going to go, and I kind of sold everything I had before so that I could get into that. They're all gas blowbacks. Gas blowbacks, buying into a new platform, the gun isn't the expensive part, it's like the magazines and all the bits and bobs and everything that comes with it that's the more expensive aspect, investment. So the MP5 was bought during Die Hard season 2022. Now I know technically I didn't buy it in 2023, but it arrived on like the 3rd of January or something. So I got it in 2023, so that's the rule, at least for this one. So the VFC MP5, if you watch my other videos on it, you'll get a bit more of an idea of my direction with it. As I said, it was bought during Die Hard season 2022, so around Christmas. My housemate and I both wanted one. We wanted a gas blowback one. I'd had the WE one previously and it was great. There was a few weird things with it, like the magazine had a gap where you could see the BBs and we didn't really like that. And the VFC was kind of around the same price at the time and was fully licensed, so it's got all the HK trademarks on, and that was kind of what sold it for us really. Other than that, there was the SRC one, but that was just CO2 powered. There was no like green gas way of powering that, and that means you've got less control when it comes to managing your FPS. I'm pretty sure they shoot hot for UK limits, 350, so I mean these do as well. On green gas these are doing like 370, 380. There's no end pass nozzle you can get for them really. There's the Bowmaster one, but it's out of stock everywhere, always. I'm just kind of keeping an eye out for when that comes back in stock at the moment. However, running it on duster gas is awesome. Like it's super snappy this is like in the summer, in gas blowback weather, spring, summer, autumn. If you watch my video on it, these are useless in winter. Yeah, most of the year we were just running them on duster gas. It kept the FPS at about 347-ish. It's still nice and snappy and crisp. It's not got a really heavy bolt like an AR that's like long. The bolt is like this big. The recoil spring it's riding on is pretty heavy, and that's what gives you like a nice felt kick. It runs perfectly fine on duster gas, so that's what we were using. The Abbey 134A or 144A, sorry. I've ran it like a train all year. It's been pretty much my go-to for outdoor play, outdoor games. This and the XM177 that I'll get to in a minute. But you know, I'd go for this if I was bringing someone along that didn't have something to use and they could use the XM177, just because of some of the niche characteristics of the MP5 and having to, you know, rack and do all the manual of arms and stuff every single time. It's caters a bit more to an experienced player. If there's a new player, I'm bringing along someone that hasn't really played before. I don't want them to need to think about all that stuff while they're playing, and just sort of take mag out, put mag in, go. You can do that on those. This is a bit more fiddly, which is what I love about it. It's all mechanical and chunky and clunky and like does all the real stuff. For a new player, they're less bothered about that. I'm the nerd. It's my tism. I've used it a lot this year and it's phenomenal. At no point do I feel like, oh no, my mags are going to run out of gas, I better be careful about how much I'm shooting this person that's shooting at me. The mags just kind of don't run out of gas. I mean, obviously they do, but it's really easy to manage. You can get, I did a test in the garden on a really hot day, left the mag in the sun all day as well, and it did 7 full reloads on 1 puff of gas. When I'm out playing in that kind of weather, you just don't need to think about gassing up your mags. I mean, you do when you get halfway through the day and you're like, hang on a minute, I haven't gassed up my mags all day, I should probably do that. But it's not something you're like constantly aware of and worried about happening when you're competing against AEGs that are just running BBs like all day long. Didn't have to worry about that with this. Have had to worry about that with other gas blowback platforms in the past, so this was very much spoiled and a treat, and I was able to compete and not worry about my gear breaking and fucking up, you know, costing me the game. But I got 5 of these and that seems to be plenty. I think a 6th would be sweet. There were a couple of times where I ran out of ammo on like long woodland games. I do carry around speed loaders for longer games as well. I know it's a little bit like you're using a gas blowback, you're running real caps, you're not running high caps, but you're still gonna rattle because of this. But no, not really. If I fill it all the way up to the top, there's like 100 rounds in there, or like 90-ish rounds in there, and then when 3 mags run out of ammo, I just fill them all up and then I'm not rattling. If I am, I'll just fill up my pistol as well maybe, or just waste them, give them to someone else if they're not rattling. It's easy to manage like that. If it means I can reload without having to go back to the safe zone, then it's worth it. So yeah, so how have I got this set up at the moment? This is kind of like the sleek A3 setup. This is how I would do it outdoors, I think. The suppressor, the silencer co, can't remember who makes it, the Airsoft version that is, but it's nice, it's got some nice trademarks right at the front. It can extend, it came with this, I think it's JMac, you know, there seems to be a JMac logo on this part of it, I don't really know. But this can go on that, this can duck on that and like extend it, I think. But this also came with it. I just keep it on the SIG because it makes it really loud. That up front, it goes on the tri-lug, so it's quick detach. And then I like to just make sure my logos are nice and straight. Then we got the standard grip it came with. You can't run the flashlight grip with a suppressor, which is a bit of annoying. I've got a modified ICS flashlight grip just because I got it really cheap. Modified it with a little plastic buffer at the back there so that it fits properly. And then that's how I would run it indoors, maybe with this mean looking flash hider that's not actually for this either. It doesn't actually fit on, but with the flashlight, it stops it from falling off. But with those bits, so I've got a flashlight for indoors, something more like this for outdoors. Vict Optics red dot. So I'm kind of putting together a bit of a red dot optic collection. I want to get like a range, have a wide range of different like categories of products. So like cheap real ones, cheap sort of airsoft ones, more expensive clones for airsoft of like, you know, EOTechs and SIG and stuff like that. Compare them and see what is more useful for what, like what what kind of gun platform are you running? Is it even worth getting something really expensive if that's all you're running? And the benefits of each and stuff like that. I've not had a chance to use this in a game at all yet, but I've used it in the back garden. It zeroes fine, it handles the recoil. It's Vict Optics, which is the sub brand of Vector Optics. It's like their cheaper brand, and Vector Optics are a real optic manufacturer in China, but I think they even supply like the Chinese military, which is kind of cool. So they do have some like real world contracts and stuff, and this is kind of like their cheaper sub brand. It feels really nice, it's really good quality. It feels like a proper optic, it doesn't feel like a toy one. I'm looking forward to getting some time on it and some experience with it and sharing that knowledge. So I've got the SEF lower that came with this, and I'm fucking glad I did. I sometimes, depending on what mood I'm in, I do prefer it. Most of the time I prefer it. I prefer the sort of ergonomic grip and the look of it. It looks a bit more classic and retro and stuff. Predator, Die Hard, all that goodness. But yeah, I'm glad I did get it, because my original one, with the 3-round burst, broke. I mean, it still works, I can still use it, it is fine. It just doesn't have a safety, the safety doesn't engage. Sometimes does 4-round bursts on 3, which is a bit annoying. But the most annoying part is that the safety doesn't safety. So it's unsafe, and it fires. Not good. So, you know, I can manage that. If I'm lending this to someone, it will always have this on it. I know some people might think, but you're going to lend people these expensive guns? It's like, yeah, I mean, gas blowback guns are pretty robust. They're not going to break. Like, you could fall on this and it wouldn't break. You could kind of run it over and the plastic might break, but it's really well built. I'm more worried about lending people cheap AEGs, because I will definitely have to repair something. If I ever do lend this to someone to use for a game, it'll be with this lower, so that they don't have to manage the event of your gun firing unsafe if they're not adhering to proper trigger discipline and whatnot in the safe zone. That sucks. It's still usable, it's still cool, but I have no idea how to. I can tech on some stuff. I have no idea what the fuck to do with this. This is, I need an actual like HK gunsmith to fix it. Well, failing that, I can get a new complete bit like this for 220 quid, which I really don't want to do. I'm yet to see anywhere sell just the trigger box inside of the unit for the 3-round burst. You can get them obviously for the SEF and the Navy, but yeah, nowhere's selling that as a separate purchasable bit, so that's a bit annoying. It's not the end of the world. I prefer it like this anyway. When I do have this on, I just have to make sure that I'm the one using it and I'm being careful. Airsoft, right. When we get to the stock is by far the worst part of this. It's just not fair. Like, why would you make it so good and then make the stock shit? The cocking handle, I slap it silly, slap it all day long. I know some people have had issues with theirs. Mine is fine, like it's no problems whatsoever. The stock is a piece of shit. Look at it. It's like, it's coming apart here at the rear seam. I don't know if it's supposed to do that or not, and it's just because stuff in there is not as tight as it should be. When you tighten it down, so I think the reason why it's happened is over time, when you retract it, it wobbles, right? Unless you clamp it by pushing this way, right? Like that. And then it wobbles less. But by doing that, you're forcing something apart inside here that actually makes it sort of come away, and then it makes it even more wobbly overall. Really annoying. I kind of want to get the Magpul stock anyway, when I can. That'll be like the next MP5 part for sure. It's not ideal, it's not great. I wish that wasn't a problem. My housemate's SD6 down here, the Marui isn't mine. I wish it was. The Marui SD6 down here, this is smooth and buttery, like all the way to the click. There's no play in it at all. There's a tiny bit in the bars, but that's to be expected. And it's so smooth. It feels like it's on rollers. Like, it's that smooth. It feels like it's on rollers. And it might be. It's just over-engineered Japanese airsoft replica of an over-engineered German weapon. It's so satisfying. It makes me want that. That alone makes me want this. So yeah, I mean, that's how it should be. And yeah, that might be more realistic to how the real one is. But I don't want a real one. I want one that doesn't feel like it's falling apart. And Marui usually, as per, kind of wins that fight. So yeah, it's annoying, but it's not the end of the world, as I said. And this is after a year's use. It's not gotten worse. It's been in sort of this state for like 3 or 4 months. So, and it's not gotten worse. It's not started falling apart or anything. So I don't know. It is what it is. Just something to expect, I guess, unfortunately, if you're looking at buying the VFC MP5. If you are looking at buying the VFC MP5, make sure you've got something else to run in winter, because yeah, these just doesn't work. These thin little steel mags don't like cold. They absorb all the cold and freeze and just don't work. So do bear that in mind. All right, we need to move on because we've got so much to cover, and I've just sat ranting about the MP5 again for ages. So pop that down. Right, so the next one I got was quite funny actually. This is not the Tokyo Marui gas blowback, not the Tokyo Marui AP, it's not the VFC gas blowback or the VFC AP. This is the Well R4 MP7. This is the Full Metal version. Yep, Full Metal MP7. I don't know why. I don't know why, what possessed them to make it all in full metal. It is certainly less like creaky than the plastic ones and the Marui plastic ones. Not so much the VFC, that's made out of proper like nylon reinforced polymer. But this is it's solid, it's heavy for an MP7. It's a lot heavier than an MP7 should feel. And it's an AP, it's a copy of the Marui AP gearbox system. So it takes, you know, all the Marui upgrade parts and accoutrements and stuff like that. It sucks. I don't load this with 0.2 gram BBs, I load it with 0.12 gram BBs because it cannot lift to save its fucking life. The hop up in it is just terrible, and it just doesn't have the power behind it to send them very far at all. You can buy like the Tokyo Marui MP7 AEP hop unit, and that seems like a no-brainer upgrade, but it's 50 quid. I don't use this that often. I don't want to spend 50 quid to make it shoot BBs further than it needs to for like indoor play for no reason. Like I'll just buy cheaper. They're so cheap, like 7 quid for like 3,000 BBs. And they're good quality, they're, you know, like high grade, high polished BBs. I'm not putting like the trashy ones that come with like these kind of shitty spring guns in there. You know, I'm feeding it good ammo, so it's just really lightweight, and it means it can work. It means it actually lifts the BBs. It is still a piece of shit. I got it because I wanted an MP7 to just add to like the collection with the MP5. They look nice together. It's a good one to start with. I was able to sort of test it out a bit and see if it was actually worth buying. I made a video about it, and I think it's the best performing video. It's the first video I did actually, was on this. So yeah, it has its use for me. I do take it as a backup for indoor CQB. I have done a little bit of work on it, I guess. I've got running a LiPo conversion kit with the battery coming out into this PEC box. So I've got a bigger battery in there that lasts a bit longer and actually gives it a usable trigger response. Like I can run it on semi. It doesn't lock up. And this battery's pretty like worn down as well, so it is actually usable. One thing I do like about it is it does have an audible trigger reset. So it does feel more like a gas trigger almost. It feels more mechanical. It doesn't shoot very hard. Like, you do have to make sure you shoot someone a few times so they know they've been shot. But yeah, it does that role, fits that role perfectly well. If you're looking at getting just a cheap gun just to do indoor CQB with, that you can just drop in your bag, don't have to worry about gas, don't have to worry about really maintenance at all. Watch the video that I did on it, I'll link it below, but like, get yourself a better battery setup because the one that comes with it is absolute trash. This optic is I have today actually. It's, again, this is to fit into the real cheap clone category of what I want to do, my little optics research. But it has an on and an off. The night vision makes it green for some reason. The reticle is really nice and clear, to be honest, to be fair. I'm not sure about the parallax, I guess we'll see. But yeah, and then just, you know, brightness up and down, and then you can adjust your windage and elevation on the sides. Yeah, it is actually really nice, to be fair. I do worry with the cheap clones. In my experience I've had, the parameters aren't very far, so you can't actually move the reticle in the window to where you need it. But this one, as it comes, is super low, which for this, it's not shooting very far. It's probably where I need it. It is the circle dot with the crosshair on the outside of the circle. So there's plenty of room within that reticle to account for inaccuracy with, you know, a barrel this short and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the MP7. One thing to note as well, like the plastic the stock's made out of is crap. You can get like the rubber pads, like Marui rubber pads. I'm pretty sure they'll fit, like the Marui stock setup will fit on here, so could replace it with that. But again, I don't want to spend money on this gun. But yeah, the butt pads snapped because it's just made out of cheap plastic on here. It snapped off. So something to be aware of. It doesn't make it any more or less comfortable really, because look at it. And then the same thing, kind of cheap plastic part. The mag release on this side, no idea how, it just came off in the bag that I was taking it to and from gaming. It does have some things to watch out for sure. But yeah, for what it is, what it's worth, for what I got it for and what I use it for, it's absolutely fine. It does the job. Does the job well. It's a good little backup. I will be taking it with me as a backup this weekend to play indoor. The only other thing worth mentioning is I've just got a cheap light on a cheap mount on the side of it. Again, the point of this gun was to keep it really cheap. Even like the EOTech was like 25 quid with batteries, like rechargeable batteries off an eBay shop. Pet box was like 5 quid. The light was 4 quid. The mount was like 3 quid. So yeah, the most expensive upgrade I've given this is the conversion kit to run it with an external LiPo, which was, I believe, 15, 16 quid. So that's that. I do have the adapter to run like a suppressor and stuff on it, but I'm like, with a gun this short, I want to keep it this short. Like, I'm not going to use tracer BBs in this because it won't lift them. You can't buy 0.12 gram tracer BBs, at least I don't think. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine the way it is. I like it the way it is. It's good. Drop. There we go. Turn that off. Pressing both down. Easy. Nice. Next up is the XM177. I had this set up in a few different ways. You know, the original way it comes with the aluminium stock, which is really nice touch. It's great that a company brought out an XM177 with a proper XM177 stock. I know I've taken that off and just put the Car 15 stock on, but we'll get to why. The way I've landed on having this set up is now kind of my 80s, 90s Delta Car 15 vibe. And that's because I've I've got my Vietnam gun, my M16A1. I did have it set up a little more modern with like a rail handguard and a bulkier stock and stuff like that. A Magpul grip. I kept the Magpul trigger guard because I really like how it looks with the A1 grip. But I did have a Magpul grip on here as well. But I stripped it back to make it a little more retro looking and lighter. It's like super lightweight. It's a lot easier for someone. Again, if I'm lending someone something, it's usually going to be this because it's the easiest to use. It's my most reliable one. The optic's not going to get shot out. It's a real aim point. There's not a lot that can go wrong with it, and it's really reliable. It's probably my most reliable, and the person who's using it is going to have a good time. And that's, I want to be able to just focus on playing my game as well. Like, I don't want to have to worry about fixing someone's gun all day. So I did have an issue with the bolt in this. I've had this about 10 months now. So I did have an issue with the bolt. The return nozzle spring came disconnected, so the nozzle wouldn't spring back into the bolt carrier enough to strip a new BB out the mag and load it in when it was like low on gas. But it still worked. The mags are really gas efficient, so that only led to me losing maybe half a mag's worth of BBs compared to before. I did end up buying just a replacement bolt carrier group for it because I think it was like 30 quid shipped. Not that bad at all. It's the older bolt carrier that's not made of steel, but it does have an end pass. So that now means this can be used a lot easier indoors. I can crank that FPS right down. There's a place that we play where you have to be under 330. Most places are 350, and this will be fine. 350 with duster gas, just like the MP5. A little bit hot on green gas, so we're using duster gas before. But now with this bolt, I can run it on green gas. It's super duper snappy. And yeah, it's much more better. So at the front we've got a muzzle device that I got with a suppressor. It's just like a QD thing. It looks kind of like just like a regular bird cage really. I think it's actually for a G36 maybe. I like the way it looks on here, and yeah, if I want to quickly attach a suppressor I can. I also have Surefire muzzle device and suppressor as well that I sometimes use on it for a slightly more modern look when I've got like the rails on it and stuff. And then I just DIY'd, this is out of an old scope mount. And it's the kind of scope mount that was used sort of in the 80s and 90s to mount their aim points. So it does kind of belong here, but I've used it to pop a little bit of pick rail on so I can mount my light just off where it's good at your thumb level. And yeah, simple solutions to kind of simple problems really. I do have some like plastic spacers inside the scope ring so that there's no like metal on metal really. So I'm not really damaging the barrel or anything like that. It's not gonna snap off, you know. I'm not sure what VFC used on the outer barrel of these, but it's definitely not steel, but it's holding up okay. Yeah, and then I'm wearing the Car 15 stock just because I don't want to scratch up the metal aluminium stock for the XM177 as it came. I don't want to scratch that up any more than I already have. This is lighter. It actually works a bit better. That one's a bit finicky in the mechanics of it. Like you have to sort of lift it out of each position and then slide it. This is perfectly suitable. It fits the vibe. Having the aim point up on a carry handle is just perfect for eye height. Don't have to crink down your neck or anything like that. It really is the better way, in my opinion, to do it. Just when you're up close, you've got to account for the height of the bore. But in Airsoft, it's not really. You're throwing plastic at each other. There's no real, true ballistic science happening. It's, you know, you're throwing plastic balls really fast. So yeah, kind of wish I had more to say about this, but I've made a couple videos on it already anyway, so check those out if you want to know more about it. Gas efficiency is stupid good, even in the cold. When was it? Just before Christmas, at the end of December. Took this to like the last game that I played of the year. It was an indoor game, so you know it was less wind and cold wind and you know icy breezes and stuff like that. But it was still running it indoors in the cold. It was like sub 5 degrees, you know, between 1 and 5 degrees maybe, and it was fine all day. It was for an evening game, so it's just for a few hours. You know, again, mags didn't run out of gas. The whole mag part is the gas tank. So this is where everything is that you need to worry about with filling it with BBs and whatnot. The rest of it is a gas tank, so it holds a stupid amount of gas and lasts all day, well, pretty much. So it's not really set up as an XM177 anymore. I just call it the Car 15. The sling is a genuine, issued, used, surplus Vietnam M16 sling, which is pretty cool. It is broken. I think I broke it. I don't know. It's like ripped and it's missing a lot of its length. So on this shorter gun, it works a lot better than on the M16. Just around the neck, really. Perfect. So that's that. I can highly recommend VFC's V3 M4 platform. Not so much with the SIG, and I'll get to that as we get to it, but with their retro and modern M4 platforms, highly recommend it. Everything inside is steel where it needs to be steel. It's all strong. They've simplified the design with the version 3. That's improved its longevity of parts and robustness, and just the gas efficiency alone is the best I've ever found with any gas blowout platform. Okay, moving on. So, pretty sure the next thing I picked up was the KBW Baretta M9 92. This is the Task Forces model, so it's the Baretta Elite. It's the KBW clone of the Western Arms design, I think, but it uses the Marui system inside. So you've got like fixed hop. Takes the Marui mags, although they were a little bit dodgy at first. I think it was to do with the mag catch. So I swapped it out for like a Marui clone one, I think a HFC mag catch, and that worked fine. It doesn't have a railed frame, so I added this to it. It's like a cheap one. I'm not sure what it's a copy of, who makes the like original one. It is a thing, but it wraps around the trigger guard and gives you a bit of rail up front. Without anything on it, it does kind of hang down. I don't know if you can see that there, but as soon as you put a light on it and it clips it into place and wedges it, once you clip that in and wedge it, it sits nice and flush, sits nice and straight. So that's that. This is cool. Berettas are better. I really like Berettas. I like the mag capacity versus gas capacity. I think it works really well. And I like the design of it. I like that I can load it from here with a BB. If I've got a BB in my pocket and I run out of ammo, I can literally just load it, fire. And yeah, Die Hard. Baretta, obviously. I've got a few Berettas. This is kind of like my go-to one. It's all metal. My Marui one's chrome, and I don't want to like ruin the chrome finish, so I don't take it to games anymore. It's just sort of a display piece. But this is metal, it's robust, the finish is really nice. It doesn't like, not really pissed it up much with it going in and out of the holster. It's not too much wear, it's a nicely done finish. It looks kind of steely, it's got a bit of a nice sheen to it. Got some real Baretta grips on it, and I really like it. It works really well. The safety on this is not a decocker, it's just a safety, so it just disengages the trigger bar. Not much more to say on that really. I did a whole video on my Berettas recently, so go check that out. So next up is another Baretta. I don't really count this, it doesn't really work yet. It's something I've been putting together from bits and pieces I found. Hasn't really cost me anything, other than the frame, I think was a tenner or maybe even less. I just needed it for parts in the frame and then ended up not needing them anymore and then deciding to build it into its own thing. So this is kind of where that's at the moment. This came with like thicker, chunkier grips, so now the grip screws kind of protrude the inside of the frame and make it annoying to insert the magazine. So I'm gonna have to like file those down. I do have a trigger bar in this that I've ground down so that it fires full auto. You lose your safety feature and any semi-auto and any sort of efficiency and controllability and usefulness when you do that. So I undid that. I've got a replacement and it's much more better. Now the slide was a really tight fit for the frame, so I've had to sort of file away at it, both the frame and the slide, to really get them to marry up properly, and it's still not quite there. It will fire, but it's not quite smooth yet. It still gets stuck. So yeah, it's not quite there. These grips are ones for the Marui US M9, which is like their more up-to-date M9, which has like a adjustable hop-up, better build quality and stuff, and the grips actually have weights in them. Now the weight that's in this side needs to be there to hold this trigger bar in place to make it all function correctly, but it's not quite interfacing as it should. So I think it just needs some grease and stuff. It works fine in double action, but as soon as the hammer's in single action, it's weird. So still needs work. But all right. So next we get into the high cappers. So never thought I'd be a high capper user really. I liked my 1911s and my Barettas, and that was until I realised that it's kind of like the best of both. The one that really turned me on to high cappers was the Stato. Again, at a shop, airsoft shop that I worked at, we had these ones in stock. The Army Armament R something 613, I think, 613. The R613 is the Staccato XL. The ones that we had didn't have any of the trademarks on them. I bought this when I left that job from JK Army. I got it basically for the same price as what we were selling them as, without all the markings. And yeah, it is fantastic. This is my go-to indoor gun, because obviously keep a flashlight on it. Probably going to be just my go-to sidearm pistol. I got it because I was like, right, this is a pistol I could use as a primary. The mag capacity and gas efficiency is good enough where if you've got 5 mags, they're all 35 rounds. It's like even better than running a rifle. You are losing your range and stuff a bit, but if you're playing indoor, that's not really an issue. You aren't shooting anyone more than sort of 10 feet away really. So 50 feet tops, which isn't that far. So this is perfectly adequate for that. Yeah, this one is stunning. The finish is fantastic, and it actually matches the XM177's finish quite well, which I am quite pleased with. Definitely a bonus that it's aesthetically matches my other stuff, and it's just a vibe, man. It's such a sleek, pretty pistol. I really like it. It's so snappy, even with the red dot mounted on the top, which I'll get to in a moment. And yeah, well balanced weight wise between the mag and the flashlight and the slide. And yeah, the only gripe I've got with it so far is the fiber optic front sight fell out like before I even played with it. I was using just a vest pouch as a holster. So if I can, I don't like to wear something around my waist if I can. I like to get away with just having everything up here. So I had it in a vest pouch as a holster. It's like a double M4 mag pouch. And before we even started playing, I carried it there inside that in my bag. I took it out and it had gone. That was good. But I've got spare fiber optic and stuff, I can fix that. But while I'm using the red dot, there's not an awful lot of point. I can still use my irons, but if it's all lined up correctly, your red dot should be round about on your front sight. Yeah, so this is a beast. Again, it's got that factor to it where I'm not worried about my gun not going off. Using gas guns versus using electric guns, they're gonna go off. They might go off a bit slower because they've got to pull back a piston first with a bunch of gears and shit. You do kind of worry about your gas gun not not working properly, especially gas pistols. But with this, there's none of that at all. I know that this is gonna shoot first. I know that it's gonna hit first. I know that if I do have an issue with my rifle, or if I'm just out of ammo because I've been shooting a lot, I know I can go to this and I can still be effective. So the optic on it falls into that more affordable, not the cheap, but more affordable real steel. The screws for it didn't quite fit the plate. They're sort of in the right position, too thick I think. So I've just put some screws in for now that work. For now, we'll see as we go. I might change the plate, I might drill out the plate a bit more to accommodate the thicker screws that come with it. But other than that, it's a really nice optic. It's the Vector Frenzy. Can't remember which one exactly. It's the cheapest of them. It's sort of auto brightness, which is perfectly fine. Seems to react to the light really well and adjust itself accordingly. It was a little bit of a pain to zero outside during like daylight because it was quite bright. Difficult to see where the BBs were going in relation to where the dot was. Moving it was good. It wasn't a screw like on some of the other cheaper ones. It's like a tiny little Allen key, so it feels a lot more sturdy and like it's not going to move. And so far it's not. I've not used the optic yet in gameplay, but it's very easy to track when you're firing. Also, I can see my iron sights through it. Now, on one of the other cheaper ones that I had on there before, which was a Trigicon clone, I'm not even calling it a clone, it was just like, it looks like a Trigicon. It's shit. That was a little bit too high, which was annoying, meant I couldn't use my irons with the optic on. So I just kind of had it for show, I guess. This is much more better, way more practical. Fits the aesthetics really well, the curvature. This I find very satisfying. The curvature, the shape of the top is the same as the shape of the pistol, where it's got sort of a flat section in the middle and then it curves into that from the sides. Flat section in the middle, curves into it from the side. So it just fits the shape. This is really stupid. It's not loaded, by the way. It fits the shape of the pistol really well. So, high capper journey begins. This one's sort of the least used so far. This is like the outdoor one. It's not got an optic on it. At the moment it's got a light on it, but that's just because we're playing indoors at the weekend. So I'm setting it up to lend to a mate so that we all kind of can share magazines. And it's his first game, so he doesn't have any of his own stuff. This came about as impatience, basically. I have an Army Armament 1911 and I knew that the slide of that would fit the staccato frame, so I bought for, I think it was like 35 quid shipped from Airsoft Tiger at the time. I think they had a sale on. I bought the staccato frame and then put my 1911 slide on it, and cool, I've got a high capper. Easy. It cost me 35 quid plus, you know, mags and stuff, and that was good. I just love the way it looks and how it feels. It became like, okay, well this is like this, but a bit more secondary vibes, you know. It's not got the tall sights, it's not got the optic, and it can just go into my standard like Vietnam, without the lightnesses, standard Vietnam 1911 holster, and it can be my main secondary. So that was all well and good. I think my girlfriend used it as a secondary when she came and played with us, because by then this had arrived. So yeah, so it was all out of me being impatient, waiting for my actual high capper to arrive. After that, I kind of wanted my 1911 back. So I didn't like having the nice chromed or nickel finished looking frame just sat in a drawer. So I put the slide back on that. And from Airsoft Tiger again, I got this slide, the complete slide, in a barrel, hop unit, like out of barrel, but it's all complete. Same with the frame, it's all complete, had everything in it, you just need to put the slide on. So the same but reverse, the slide on, again like 30 quid shipped. Not a lot. And then I've got another high capper. I decided to go for a slightly different slide to the 1911A1 one that was on the Army Armament 1911A1, and went for the Springfield Armory one with the slightly taller sights. I do have an optic plate I can swap the rear sight out for that will fit if I ever want to, and yeah, just a little bit different. So it's model 1911, cal 45 on the side, which is funny because the staccato frame's a 9mm frame, but you know, it looks really nice. It works. Cool, so next up, this is where my journey down the rabbit hole of high cappers peaked. I was watching a lot of like high speed, like speed QB players with their high capper setups, with the HPA thing. I wouldn't do the HPA thing, I think it's lame, like a Ghostbuster. I don't want a cable in it and everything, whatever. Watching lots of videos of people making custom high cappers and decided to make a pink one for my girlfriend. It's dope. It's basically, at the moment, not a lot of internal upgrades have been done. It would be cool to maybe upgrade the inner barrel, though I did put the inner barrel and hop unit from my Marui 1911 in here, so that is an upgrade. It's the innards of a Golden Eagle high capper, and the Golden Eagle is a true clone of the Marui, so all of the nozzle parts, all of the blowback unit and everything, that's also Marui compatible, and that was important. I needed that because the slide is for a Marui high capper. It's the LA Kappa Customs Jungle Cat light barrel, a Llink Customs kind of vibe, in 45 ACP, and it's so snappy, so snappy. The trigger, there's like a tiny bit of like wobble because obviously the Golden Eagle parts are the cheaper parts, but the slide is super lightweight and the recoil spring really kicks it back. It's like a teeny bit of play in the trigger and then it breaks, and then the reset right there. This is like the best feeling, the best shooting pistol that I own. Really, really, really cool. So the reason why the optic is up on a mount, and this is one of these kind of mounts that goes to your grip module and your slide release and extends the slide release, which is actually really nice. Creates a nice place to rest your thumb as well, but you do have to be careful to not keep it there because otherwise your slide won't lock back. Sorry, I got sidetracked. The reason why it's up there is because the slide's really light. I don't really want to add weight to the slide unnecessarily. The whole point of having a nice expensive slide like this, and it is really nice CNC'd aluminium, really well finished, like anodized. It's super nice. Having the optic up here on a mount that's not attached to the slide is a lot more practical. Allows you to really utilize the benefits of having a nice expensive lightweight slide. I don't want it to be pulling back an optic as well. You just want it to be nice and crisp. So that's that. It also means your optic the reticle doesn't move about with the slide as it fires, so it stays pretty flat, which is a benefit. The optic that's on here is the Vict Optics Frenzy. So it is the, again, like real optic, but it's their sub-brand, Vector Optics sub-brand. So it is the cheaper side. I think it was 28 quid in the sales, in the Christmas sales. And it comes with like the pick mount, to mount it on Picatinny. Simple, one on-off button, press to turn on, hold down to turn off. Just two little Allen key adjustments, one for brightness, one for height, and then one for windage on the side. So it's nice and simple. It's still nice and sleek. It doesn't have loads of buttons and controls and stuff hanging off of it, and there's nothing hanging out of it externally that can mess up. So looking forward to testing sort of the robustness and the ruggedness of this and how it holds up. Don't think I'm going to put it on anything that will let it feel the shock of more direct recoil. Like, I'm not sure I'll put it on the MP5. This is kind of where it's going to live. So we're going to see how it holds up on this. Torch is just like a cheap one. Has a little strobe setting that I'm still unsure of how to actually get to. It seems to run through a few brightness settings. And then kind of just does it randomly. It comes up, there's a bit of a delay between it coming on and off as well. It's just weird, I don't know. I know if I do the momentary twice, that does the strobe, but yeah, I don't know. Cheap eBay torch that will just live on this pistol because this is, I guess, another sort of primary pistol. Doesn't have a front sight on it because you can't see it. There's no point. There's no point having a front sight on it. Plus, is it going to get in the way? No, it doesn't go quite back that far. Fair enough. Yeah, no, it just doesn't need it. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to get onto the SIG. Now the SIG, I've done 2 videos on the SIG. I did a video of when I got it and it was broken out the box. Fantastic. And I sort of repair it in that video and explain it, and then I do a video which I put out a few weeks ago. It was kind of like an update on it working. It's still not 100%. It's really, really frustrating. Just because it should have been. Like, it should have. It's still the tolerances issues that I'm having with it, but I can still use it now. It's just not as efficient as this, I'm afraid. It's don't buy this platform expecting it to be fantastic out the box. You are going to have to do some stuff to it. The one main thing I've got to do, other than the tolerances, which are getting better the more I use it, which is to be expected, it needs some like wearing in. The only other thing I've got to do is replace the hot rubber, because it's just not practical for indoor CQB use, which is what the gun is for. This hot rubber is for lifting like 0.4s, like, or 0.36s if they exist. It's overlifting. I've turned the hot as off as it will go, and it's overlifting 0.32s. Like, just between here and my garden fence, it's not that far away. It's maybe 30 feet. You know, it shouldn't be doing that. Like, it's overhopping at 30 feet with 0.32s. It's the wrong hot rubber for this gun. Like, this should have a nice hard rubber in it that's just makes a teeny bit of adjustment for using up to 0.32s really. At one of the indoor places we play, I can't use anything heavier than a 0.25, so it's not very practical. Yeah, I mean, the engagement distances there are it's super indoors. It's like in an office, like an abandoned office block, so it's tight rooms and tight corners and stuff like that. You're not really going to have to worry about the backspin kicking in at those distances, but it's still annoying enough that I am going to need to replace that. Taking it apart is super easy. It's really well designed, it's super intuitive. Everything's kind of big and chunky other than the screws, so you're not having to worry about it's pinging out and flying out and not being able to find them. It is well designed, I give them that, but it's just really annoying that it wasn't ready to go when I bought it. This is in its kind of like teeny configuration right now, with the Silencer Co. sort of JMac brake that makes it really, really loud. I'll show you. You'll probably get shouted at for doing it indoors. Oh, that really does ring your ears. So yes, it's in its shorty configuration, short JMac muzzle device. This screws off to reveal this really beastie looking flash hider. So flash hider muzzle device. It's I wouldn't want to be sat next to one of these going off like a real one, because you're just going to get all that blast from the side in your face. But yeah, so that's cool. And then I'm just going to clip a light to the top up here, like I have on the longer rail, and probably that light as well. It's a nice colour, it matches the optic. Yeah, M-Lock vertical grip, the SIG Romeo 8T. Now this falls into the category of optics that's like more expensive clone of something really expensive. The Romeo 8T isn't the most expensive SIG red dot like holographic sight, but it's like mid-tier, it's up there. And this is a really nice copy of it externally. When it comes to its practicality, it is lacking in a few places, but I'll leave that all for another video. I've not gamed this yet, and I'm already losing bits of the finish. It's overall, I am really happy with how I've got it now, but it was a bit of a disappointment. I looked forward to getting this all year, pretty much, since I saw they were coming out, and I got it in October, so it's a good 9 months of, oh my god, this is going to be like my little CQB gun / more modern gun. It's why this has sort of returned to a retro vibe, because I've now got the more modern vibe. The trademark's nice, Magpul grip on it is really nice. The grip, it came with 2 grips, like the original kind of SIG one and then the sort of Rattler one. They're both really nice. I just much prefer this, so I've whacked that on there. It was on the Car 15. At the moment I don't have a front sight on here, and that's because I just haven't taken it off of this yet. This is the Artisan SIG SD rail and suppressor. So gives it just a bit of a different look. And that's all really. I could extend the inner barrel and use that. It'll be a bit of a faff. Like I can just pop a pin out and put that on. At the moment, if I extend the inner barrel, I'd need to pop this off, take the whole unit, hop unit out again, put a longer inner barrel in, put it back in. Be a bit more of like I want to keep it for longer distance. So if I ever did decide to bring this into the world of playing outdoors a bit more, which I may eventually do, I could. That's when I would extend the inner barrel. At the moment, having that on is just another option, another look. It would be good if I wanted to run it with a tracer, I suppose. I could run it with a tracer inside here. That's probably more likely. Doesn't add too much length to the end of it, really. It's still perfectly usable for indoor CQB, but I just want to run it like this for a bit first, really. Nice and short, nice and stubby. This is very, very nice, don't get me wrong. Overall happy, bit disappointed. As I've said in my other videos and stuff, I order a lot of stuff from Asia, 99% of the time. It comes through fine. You know, sometimes it comes through without customs clocking it either. However, was not one of those times. It came through without customs clocking it. It came through busted up. And that's just a risk you take. Like the benefits you gain of ordering from overseas are it's going to be cheaper. Or, as in the case of this at the time, like I couldn't get it in the UK. Especially not with the engravings. So those are the benefits. There is risk to it being damaged in transit, being damaged when it's being taken apart, put back together by the people doing the engraving. There's all sorts of risks that you take when you're doing it, but the benefits, in the case of all the other ones, have been reaped. So you just kind of have to take it on the chin, figure out a way to sort it out. Sending it back to Asia just wasn't really an option for me. I didn't want to post it back to Asia. Fortunately, the retailer was really helpful and helped me replace the broken parts. And now it's getting there. It's at the point where I know I will be happy with it and it'll be worth all the headache that I had over it. It's not the end of the world, it's just a toy gun. The Baretta 90-2. Again, something I've wanted for a long little while. Least of all because it has a full auto mode. Which is stupid. But it did mean that I didn't need that weird bastard Baretta to do full auto anymore, because this does it, and it actually does it really well. So it's a bit more of a futuristic-y approach to the Baretta M9, the Baretta 92, and it's 90 as in 90 and then 2 TWO. It gets referred to as the 90-2 just to make it a bit clearer, and I really like the aesthetics of it. I like this sort of Fifth Element vibe that it's got going on, something that Baretta then carried over to the PX4 series. More weird futuristic-y lines to them. It has a rail cover. Yeah, we'll just leave that on there for now. Yeah, underneath here is 3 sections of rail, pick rail, so you can attach whatever you want underneath it. It's a bit more better than just the one that's on the M9A1. The grips that came with it weren't the Baretta ones, so I had it engraved, the retailer KY Airsoft. You know, the plain version, an engraved version, a couple of different engraved versions. But yeah, no, it didn't come with the grip. It didn't come with the Baretta grip. So I got a real one. It was like 17 quid from Brownells and put that on. And it's the slimmer profile, so it's very comfy. It didn't just go on, I did have to take away some material from it inside to get it to fit, and at the back underneath the feeder tail. So yeah, but it's on there. I'm not going to take it off. I don't need to take it off. I did at first sort of get in the way of the mags going in smoothly, but over time it's fine, and you just have to do it with a bit more oomph, shall we say, and then it works. Safety is also a decocker. It's a copy of Marui's more recent system, so minus the full auto, it has a decocker and an adjustable hop unit, which is great because it means it lifts 3 2s out of the box. So this can be an outdoor gun straight away. I don't have to worry about using different weight ammo in different guns. I can just take my 3 2s, I can take my rifle and my Baretta 90-2. I'm more likely to use this outdoor anyway because it's got full auto. I can quickly blap, sneak up and blap is the best way to describe it. Super impressed with it. I'll just give you a little run of it on semi. It's super snappy. It's super snappy when there's a gas in the magazine. Am I going to get any out of this can? I don't know. We'll find out. It's a really quiet fill as well. Even when there is a full can of gas, it's a very quiet fill. The mag is actually one of the nicest Baretta mags I've got. It's got a thicker butt plate, or base plate. It's got a really quiet fill valve. It fits all my other Barettas, so that's handy too. Yeah, super snappy. Again, with a bit more gas, that would have been a much better example. I'm sure I'll make more videos on this pistol as time goes on. Yeah, really impressed. The WE. It's a WE. WE rifles I've had in the past all kind of sucked. So yeah, and the other pistols I've had in the past are very mediocre. I found them to be very leaky and required a lot of maintenance, but that so far seems to be good. So up next is another VFC, the 4th VFC of the year so far. Right, so this actually I definitely got before the SIG. I got at the same time as the high cappers. It's just a little rifle I put together for my girlfriend. So it's another girlfriend build, just because it was really cheap and I couldn't let the offer pass up and pass by. It's from the same shop, Proact store, same place I got the MP5 and the XM177 from. They were doing a deal on it and it was like 200 quid plus shipping and stuff, but you get 2 magazines with them, 2 V3 VFC VMags. And this thing is friggin' awesome. I do have, we'll start at the front. So this is the flash hider that comes with it. It does have a QD. It can nearly do that. I actually like it this short. Basically for her it's like nice and lightweight, runs on the same mags that mine does, so we can share mags and that's always convenient. And I put a bunch of pink stuff on it because, you know, we've got a nice little cheap pink light, enough to make your way back to respawn. Nice little Magpul vertical grip, Magpul pistol grip and trigger guard, and a Fab Defense stock with QD mounts. So up top is a Trijicon RMR. Now this is the one I was on about earlier where it was just cheap and shit and you couldn't really adjust. Couldn't really adjust it much. Couldn't get the dot high enough in the window, or low enough in the window, should I say. But on here, it actually, with this mount, it actually sits right where it needs to be, just kind of on the pin of the front sight. So not such a problem on this build. It is unfortunately stuck to this mount, this screw head, rounded out when I was trying to take it off of this mount, so it's now on this mount forever. It can handle, but yeah, it handles the recoil of that, which is fine, but because it's kind of, I don't know, when I put it on my MP5 it couldn't, the MP5 just switched it off. It being stuck on a mount does mean that I can't change the battery unless I drill it out of the mount, which I will do eventually, probably just when I actually need to change the battery. I'll get around to doing that. It's going to be good to see if it can take a hit. I don't have too much faith. I mean, it's a nice Trijicon clone. Like externally, it looks decent. The markings are nice, but it's just, it is cheap. I think it was like 25 quid. So you get what you pay for. The gun, however, I think was a really good deal. It's an Olympic Arms, like M4 multi-caliber, so if I'm LARPing my 300 blackout, it's fine that we can share mags because this is also 300 blackout. Justifies the really short barrel. 5.56 with a barrel this short is not gonna be very good. It's all 6mm BBs, who cares? It's a really nice little compact package. Outdoors as well, we can run it with a suppressor with a longer inner barrel. Oh, that is something I wanted to say, because the suppressor that we use on this is the the one that came with the Rattler, and just because it's kind of got like a rose goldy finish to it and it works with all the pink and stuff. But it has an inner barrel extension inside it. Now, it's not great. I had to change the inner barrel on the Rattler anyway because the one that came with it was bent, so it wasn't really lining up anyway. But it has like a taper around it that hooks into the suppressor inner barrel, the inner barrel that's in the suppressor. And that could potentially increase the FPS by quite a lot. So we have it with the suppressor for like outdoor use. Some places let you, with a gas rifle you're only going to be doing semi-auto anyway, you don't need it locked really anymore. On full auto, a gas rifle's not going to shoot 400 FPS on full auto. The first couple might be, and then after that it's going to drop to like 330, so it's just how they work. Suppressor on there, if it is a problem we can take the inner barrel out, but if you want that long range suppressor with the inner barrel, and then a nice pink scope. I say pink, it's technically like supposed to be FDE, but it does have sort of a rose tint to it. Real optics, Discovery optics, so it is a my first optic kind of optic, but it is real LPVO 1.6 to 6 magnification, I believe, and it's just a nice little twisty job here. And then the whole reticle can be illuminated like red, green or blue. Not really necessary, to be honest. It's fine the way it is. It'd be better if it was just a little dot in the middle of the reticle, but yeah, it's just got a gradient standard sort of sniper scope, so you can account for like bullet drop and stuff like that. She always plays as a sniper in Call of Duty, so I thought I'd give her sort of a nice little compact DMR kind of setup for when she comes and plays at Airsoft. It's nice. Just a nifty little package, really. The 2 mag thing is the big selling point for it. It's really cheap and came with 2 mags. It's VFC's V3 platform, so reliability wise I know it's good, and I've not had any issues with this that I had with the SIG. It's definitely, that's the design of the SIG's fault. This is pretty well rounded. The bolt, even out of this, there's a V3 bolt, it's a steel bolt, which is really nice, but they don't have an impasse, which is kind of annoying. At least not the same kind of impasse as that's on all the others where you adjust it through the front of the nozzle. It's doing 350 on green gas out of this barrel, this short, which is right up at the limit. So when we go play CQB at the other place where it's the 330 limit, I'm gonna have to take the bolt out of something else and put it in. Girlfriend build, decent. Next we have this is the almost the last one. It's my M16. So this is the new VFC XM16E1. I'm going to do a proper video on this soon, so this is just going to be a very brief overview. Straight away out the box, I was absolutely blown away. So my housemate got one. I knew it was going to be sick because it's just a big version of this, essentially. But it was really cool. I thought that VFC went with the earlier model and did a faithful replica of the earlier model. Little details down to like dimples in the pins and some of the like retainer, like spring retainer things, and I'll go into more detail about that. The chrome bolt, 3-prong flash hider, obviously, the front sight, post, and yeah, it was just a really good, really faithful replica of this one. The lack of fencing on the magwell around the magazine release. And that chrome bolt, it's just super smooth. Just a sec, going back to the 90-2, the barrel has this finish on it. It's like a coating almost that makes it super like slippery smooth. At first it was even more so. I've worn it in a bit now and it's lessened a little bit, but it was it felt like it had like a plastic film over it. And the bolt in this is much the same. It's so smooth. Steel bolt that's been chromed, it's just painted silver basically, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's really cool, it's really nice. Gun, empty. Super snappy. The bolt inside, the buffer inside the stock is much longer than the carbine length ones in here, obviously. It does have a longer, bulkier feel. It feels a lot like chuggier than the smaller M4s and the carbines. That's what comes with having a full length stock and a, you know, full length buffer. I have put, and I'll go into more detail with this in the dedicated video on this. In the back of the buffer tube, in the back of that, I've put a spring at the end of like the spacer at the back. So that's in an attempt to try and kick it back forward a bit quicker. Not sure how well it works yet. I need to do a direct comparison with my housemate's one. That's something I want to work on with it really. The one thing I've noticed so far is on full auto, it's very sort of machine gun like, slow and chuggy, and I do want it to be more M16 like, fast rate of fire, light bolt, light components. It should be firing a bit quicker. It's not that I'm going to ever use it on full auto anyway. This is very much like running through the jungle, 20 round mags, like I'm picking my shots with this for sure. Handguard is a bit crap. The plastic feels a bit lesser than it could. Now, I know back then in the 60s that that's the way the plastic kind of was. It's probably a kind of a faithful replica of that. I know the Car 15 handguards are a more faithful replica than say the Brownells Repros are. I do have some real handguards that would work on here, and they do feel kind of similarly in quality. So we'll see. It's not a big issue. I think some real handguards and a real stock on this would really complete it once it's roughed up a little bit. I'm not going to rough it up myself and artificially age it at all like I did with my old WE guns. I'm going to let time do it. This is going to be my go-to for a little while. I'm going to get some other bits that would allow me to use it a bit more with different like loadouts. So like some A2 handguards, got some A2 handguards on the way. A bow cage, flash hider, and 30 round mags, obviously. Just so it fits in with the vibe a bit more. What I really want to do with it is have like a Billy build from Predator. So you can't actually get those handguards anymore. I forget what they're called. They're really hard to find. They're not quite A2 ones, like the ribs are a bit further apart and there's fewer of them. But they look kind of A2-ish. So with the A2 grips and an undermounted shotgun, have kind of a Billy from Predator build. That'll go with my housemate's one that you saw at the start of the video, very, very nicely. So M16, love it. Clocked that it was going to be released at MOE 2022 when they had one on the wall to showcase their grenade launcher, and I just knew that there was going to be one coming and I needed to get one straight away. My housemate kindly enough helped me get it while the prices are low. The price of these are sure to shoot right up. I've seen them being sold in the UK for like 750 quid, and that's nowhere near what we paid for them from Asia and ship them ourselves. So he kind of helped me do that, which is very nice of him, so that I could get it while it was cheap. It's definitely been worth it. It's been like the highlight of my airsoft year, really. Super happy with this. Nice to have a long rifle again in the collection. I used to have the WE one, was nowhere near in this in terms of quality. There is like on Swit Airsoft, they do an Anubis custom of the WE one where they dress it up to look like this, but it's still like not quite the right color and it costs so much money. At the end of the day, you've still got a WE system, WE mags and whatnot, and it's just not worth it. This coming out was just the highlight of my year for airsoft, really. Legit AK sling on there at the moment. I don't know if that's something that would have been done by units, swapping slings over for the enemy ones as maybe trophies, or just because they're a bit more practical. I prefer this clip than the official M16 one, although it would be nice to have one on here. Pop this on an AK when I get an AK again. But yeah, so that's kind of been 2023's airsoft collection, as well as this cheap little plastic Springer Uzi that I bought my housemates as a joke for Christmas. So the honourable mention, let's take a look at some of the other stuff that's entered the house. Me, my housemates, and my girlfriend, we all play, so all sorts of stuff's come in. My other housemate, who has the M16, decided to expand his collection this year and just kind of like get all the things that he wanted. So we got the MP5s at the start of the year. He has a FAL on the way, VFC FAL. It's really been the year of VFC for us. And then his M16 203 over here that we completed the other day with the 203 launcher and heat shields. It looks insane. It's so cool. Looking forward to getting out and playing woodland when we can again with the M16s. I'm pretty confident we could go do it now in the weather that we've got with the VFCs. Kind of wait till the weather gets a little warmer before we really put them through their paces. It's such a cool setup, even with the scope as well. It's a winner. It surely is a winner. It's going to turn some heads for sure. Right, so he got that. He got Tokyo Marui High Cycle G3 SAS, I think they call it. This is pretty nuts. The rate of fire is stupid. It's like 30 rounds a second or something, and it's not a dual sector gear build or anything. It is obviously an AG. It's one of Marui's newer updates that they've done to it, because I can see it's got like the later rotary hop system. Yeah, this is super cool. It's like and it is based on a real thing. It's based on, like, albeit the shortened version, even more so. It's kind of based on the HK, was it the 54, I think. That's the designation for a short length 7.62 gun. And real world, it would be like a handheld flashbang launcher. It would be so unpleasant to fire a 7.62 round out of a barrel this small, because you don't have the barrel length for all the powder and stuff to burn. It's just going to make a big bang, a big flash, big concussion for the user. It's super cool in Airsoft though. I think he wants to get a swordfish flat top on it, a little red dot with drum mag, and maybe like a tracer suppressor unit for it. It's really cool. This is the high cycle I would go for as well. We've kind of, well, it is me copying him. We kind of just copied each other's wants, but we just have kind of the same tastes. So really good option for like a winter gun, winter ADG and CQB and stuff. So that was a cool little addition. As I mentioned, he's got the VFC LAR FAL on the way, but he got the deluxe version that costs a lot of money and comes in a big heavy wooden crate and has been stuck at customs for like 2 months. It's really annoying. Lots of back and forth between Parcel Force and the retailer, and it's still not arrived, but I will be sure to cover that when it gets here. I'm pretty sure be the only deluxe version, like the all steel version, that's likely in the country. So it'll be good to have an unboxing video of that. So he also got the MP5 SD6 that we saw earlier, and that's it so far really. Other than, this. So this is my final, and I count it as 2023 because this is going to be the final one of 2022, and then probably for a little while, because 2024 is not going to have as much going on in terms of new additions to the collection for me. I've seen what's being released and it looks exciting, but I don't think what I'm after is going to be released until like the following year really, till 2025. So I might have another busy year in 2025. But for 2024, it's going to be content on updates, usage, equipment, upgrades, modifications, stuff like that. So, and this is no exception. Move over here so we can see. Had to do it, saw it on offer. it's not exactly going to be a initial honest reaction video because my housemate already has one, so I know what it's like, what it feels like, but I love that they do this. These are just like, obviously without all the token Marui stuff all over it, the HK operator manual. Perfect winter gun. NGRS MP5 SD6. So yeah, this is crazy. It's mad that an AEG can feel this good, really. It's pretty... It's solid, it's robust. It feels like, I hate to say it, it feels how the VFC should have done in terms of rigidity, robustness. But that stock is so smooth. Like, it's perfect. It's literally perfect. I think I could, if I had to sell all of them, bar one, it would be this, just because it has the features. It has the mag stop on empty. It has the manual of arms, the bits and bobs that you like about an MP5 and why you buy one. And it's the 3-round bursting. It's got the recoil system, but I can also use it in winter. I prefer gas blowback guns overall, but what led me to this was just the ability to rip on full auto, which is what you want an MP5 for. Like, that rips on full auto in the summer, don't get me wrong. This will rip on full auto all year round, especially, I will use it especially in the winter, outdoors. That's all there is to it, really. I'll do a proper in-depth review on it when I've had a bit more time behind it, but I was just so blown away by the quality of my housemates that I had to go for one. And when they were on offer, it seemed too good to pass up on. So we will definitely get more time behind this. I'm not sure what I'm going to deck it out with just yet. I've got a few optic choices. I've got an optic mount on the way, so I'm sure soon enough it will be looking good. I think I'll do a flashlight the more old school way and clamp it to the suppressor. Blown away, absolutely blown away. The quality of these is unreal. People dig on Marui fanboys. Oh, my SEMA cost half as much and did a load of upgrades to it, and it can definitely outperform your Marui. It's like, no it can't. Like, shut up. Yeah, this may have, you know, a lower power for the Japanese market, but just use 2.5s. That's what it was meant for, and they'll fling. Use 3.2s if you want. It'll do 3.2s perfectly fine. You're going to lose some FPS, sure. With this, the advantage of the suppressor is you can put a longer inner barrel in there to increase the FPS. You don't have to touch the internals, and you don't want to anyway. Anything that's, and this is kind of why I like gas blowbacks. All the internals are like big clunky parts that are easy to maintain because they're big and clunky, and there's less of them. Whereas the AEGs, there's like 200 parts inside a gearbox, and unless it's been put together by someone almost bespokely, which is why you have to get them serviced by a tech straight away usually. Unless they're put together by someone bespokely who knows exactly what each part does and how it affects the previous part and the next part, they're going to be put together badly. And that's how things are made in China and Taiwan and those areas of the world. Like, it's, you know, one person will put these pieces in and the next person will put these pieces in. And that's why you get AEGs arrive that are just badly shimmed and sound horrible and scratchy, and and why Tokyo Marui don't, because they are put together by people that know what they're doing and have that pride of Japanese craftsmanship and whatnot. And you know, listen to the stock. There's a stock. There's nothing in it. It's just, as I said earlier, it's an it's a Japanese over-engineering replica of a German over-engineered submachine gun, and it's the best way to do it. It's honestly the best way. I did look into the alternatives, and they just lacked the features versus the price difference that this has, and it was just obvious in the end. Another benefit is now I've got a working 3-round burst lower on a gun, so I feel like I need the other one to work a bit less. By that I mean the gas blowback one that doesn't quite work. Proper review to come on this and the M16 and the Olympic arms when I can find time to do it. As I said before, I don't really have a load of spare time to pump into doing this, not as much as I wish I did. So just kind of bear with me. Got loads of content ideas, comparisons between this and the VFC, and you know, the optics and all sorts. The more views I see my stuff get, the more it pushes me to want to do it. It's nice seeing stuff get reviews and comments and stuff like that. So keep that up. It does really help my enthusiasm into deciding to put some time into making the content. I really enjoy making the content, and that's basically kind of been the highlight of my 2023 in terms of it. Airsoft is starting this YouTube channel. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.